Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of this very interesting event. My name is Anna Merrifield, and I head the Climate and Environment Diplomacy Unit at the Finnish Ministry for Foreign Affairs. And the Finnish Ministry for Foreign Affairs is really very happy to support this event. I will just be the MC here for this morning, and my great pleasure is to invite the panelists of the first panel to join on stage. The first panel is a high-level dialogue on key initiatives to accelerate resilience in LDCs. It will be moderated by Ms. Beatrice Mutali, who is the resident coordinator of the United Nations of Zambia. I believe we're waiting for one panelist still. Once that panelist has arrived, then we will start the session. I think in order to ensure that all the panelists will have enough time to speak, we will start now, so I will hand over to the resident coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that introduction. A very good morning to all the participants, and I do hope that you did have some rest after a very engaging first day of yesterday. So as we've already been introduced, today's session, today we are beginning with a very important session, a session a session which is really going to be a dialogue on key initiatives to accelerate resilience in LDCs. And I think for those of us, I think most of us who were here yesterday, we did have a very good introduction at the opening on resilience. So we hope to continue part of that discussion in this dialogue. During this session, we will therefore share innovative ideas and recommendations on how transformative investments and practical strategies are driving economic transformation, climate resilience, and social protection in LDCs. One thing we note is that despite high vulnerability to climate change and economic shocks, a record number of LDCs are in the graduation pipeline through national development plans and sector policies, and that in itself is really encouraging. We also recognize that international support measures and development cooperation have also played an important catalytic role in enabling the process. So what we hope to do during this session is hear from a set of distinguished speakers on examples of progress as well as interventions to support the LDCs. We have 4 distinguished participants, and to start us off, I'll just introduce them as we go one by one. I will start with Mr. Roland Mollerus, who's the director at the UN OHR LLS. I'll just introduce him from here, and then I'll go and take my seat. So, Roland, my question to you is, how can the Doha Program of Action support building resilience in LDCs? And how does OHR LLS envisage rolling out relevant deliverables? Over to you. You want to? Okay. No, you can come here.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much, Resident Coordinator, for this introduction. It's good to see you all back in the room. I must say, after yesterday's fantastic and excellent opening, it's difficult to match the President and the other speakers yesterday. That was really something very special, I believe. An opening with the President, very interesting discussion, also with the USG of OHRLS, some key ministers from the country here and also from abroad. Thank you very much, Resident Coordinator, for this introduction. As you said, I will speak to the deliverables that came out of the Doha Program of Action and that are supported by our office, the Office of the High Representative for Least Developed, Landlocked and Island Developing Countries. And I will focus on two issues which you will see in a little bit. And in the meantime, I have the PowerPoint presentation up, and I think I will need the clicker. There you go. Thank you very much. And I will take you through the first page. And just a little recap there. The Program of Action was adopted, as you all know, in March 2022. Followed by a formalization of that Program of Action at the 5th UN Conference on the LDCs that took place in Doha a year later in March 2023. And if you go through the Program of Action for the least developed countries, you will see that there are 6 priority areas. One, investing in people in LDCs. The other one, leveraging the power of STI. Supporting structural transformation, enhancing international trade and regional integration, addressing climate change, environmental degradation, recovering from COVID-19, and building resilience against future shocks. It's this 5th priority area that relates directly to the topic that we are discussing this week in this future forum. And then number 6, it's the mobilization of international partnerships. Aside from this 5th priority area that I just mentioned, vulnerability to shocks and resilience are also cross-cutting themes that come back throughout the entire Program of Action for LDCs, the DPOA. Apart from these 6 priority areas, there are 5 deliverables included in the Doha Program of Action that aim to bring transformative change and that aim to accelerate progress towards the 6 priority areas and towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. As you can see on the screen, the 5 deliverables are resilience building mechanism, the food stock mechanism, the Sustainable Graduation Support Facility, the International Investment Support Center, and the Online University for LDCs. It's thanks to the government of Qatar that we in OHRLS and with us, our partners, are in a unique position to move forward with the 2 deliverables that you see on top, the resilience building mechanism and the food stock holding mechanism. And we can operationalize, again, thanks to the government of Qatar, the 2 deliverables from the Doha Program of Action into practice and operationalize them. As you can see, the 2 deliverables are directly related to the topic on our agenda this week. And as an example, and as we heard yesterday from the President, as he was referring to drought in Zambia, and the country going from a food surplus country to a food deficit country, and how the country would cope with that and could cope with that. That's exactly an example of how we envisage to operationalize these 2 first deliverables on the screen. So let me first take you through the resilience building mechanism. The overall objective of this mechanism is to build resilience to the adverse impacts of climate change and any other external shocks. And as you can see, there are 3 modules that the mechanism consists of, and I will walk you through each one of them one by one, starting with module 1 on the national adaptation plans, or the NAPs, and bankable project proposals. To date, only 23 LDCs have submitted these national adaptation plans. We envisage under this this deliverable to support 20 LDCs in their preparation or finalization of the NAPs, the National Adaptation Plans. We will help them develop implementation and investment plans, including the preparation of bankable projects, and help them to facilitate the effective implementation of each of these NAPs. Aside from that, and we would go full circle there with the preparation and then the implementation, we would convene an international investment fair to bring together LDCs and NAP project investment partners. A second module is about the strengthening of a multi-hazard early warning system in the LDCs. And if you look at your tables, you will all have a flyer that we distributed on this, and you will find all the information about that, including also a code to download the report that was prepared on this. There was this baseline report on the status of multi-hazard early warning systems in LDCs. That came out in 2024, assessing existing initiatives and gaps in this area and making recommendations both to the LDCs and to developing partners on how to move forward, including to address gaps in knowledge, equipment, and infrastructure. It has several components, including outreach to donors and development partners on key areas for support to the LDCs. Aside from that component, we will also organize targeted workshops to address capacity building gaps and identified in the reports, and work on 8 pilot countries that we will select to strengthen the multi-hazard early warning system on the ground. The third module of the early warning system is about building financial resilience. There we will identify critical topics on key vulnerabilities related to financial resilience. A report series will be prepared to build LDC policy makers' knowledge and recommendations to overcome challenges. And we will then also develop a series of capacity building seminars on implementing recommendations. And with that, then is a last component on this one. We will work on related toolkits for LDCs to be better prepared for external shocks. Then the second deliverable that I wanted to present today is about the LDC food stock holding mechanism. As you know, and as we have heard already yesterday, hunger and malnutrition remain a pressing challenge in LDCs. And has been declining due to the COVID pandemic, and since then many LDCs failed to recover. As you can see on the screen here, one second. There. Food security in the LDCs has declined, and I will leave the numbers there for you to look at. But important there to know that the food stock mechanism aims to build resilience and to enable LDCs to better prevent, anticipate, and absorb food crises resulting from the structural issues that make LDCs vulnerable to food emergencies. The objectives of the food stock holding mechanism and expected results are to establish food stocks, physical or virtual, which can ensure adequate food availability at affordable prices in the food crisis situation in LDCs. We are planning there to have innovative system to provide emergency food to vulnerable populations, promoting sustainable agriculture and capacity building, and to contribute to the building of long-term resilient food system in LDCs. The way forward, as we have that planned out, we are preparing a feasibility study for the operationalization of the food stock holding mechanism. At the same time, we are putting together a UN task force of experts to guide the preparation of this feasibility study, and we are in consultations with key actors and participants, collaborators in this area in the UN system and beyond, such as organizations FAO, the World Food Programme, IFAD, and others. Along with the feasibility study and this creation of the UN task force, we will also work on working with a number of pilot countries to test this concept. And with that, I would like to hand over back to the resident coordinator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roland, for that brief on the Doha Programme of Action and how it supports resilience, but also, I think, very important on how the OHRLLS plans to support the countries as they roll out the relevant deliverables. I now want to turn to His Excellency, Mr. Sobandnith Pan, who is the Secretary of State, Ministry of Planning of Cambodia. Cambodia, as some of us may be aware, has made important progress towards graduation and is scheduled to exit the LDC category in December of 2029. They've made strides in a number of development areas, and because of this, we really want to learn from the Cambodia experience. And as such, I'd like to invite Your Excellency, Mr. Pan, to share with us the Cambodia experience. You can't speak from where you're seated if you prefer, but if you want to come here, that's also okay. Right. Welcome.
Good morning. As at yesterday opening session, Mr. President of Zambia brilliantly point out the two words that compare the word landlocked to landing. As a neighbor of a landlocked country, I feel that the word has a positive connotation that may bring about positive change in terms of enhanced collaboration, in terms of trade facilitation between landlocked countries and neighboring countries. And this call, and I for one also second with Mr. President concerning the need to adopt as the least developed countries in terms of financial assistance due to the change in international political climate as we have observed recently. And this calls for the acceleration towards a more sustainable, more resilient economy, particularly to climate change. And why resilient economy? This is because, as we know, that the least developed countries are more vulnerable to climate change, and this was also pointed out by Her Excellency Fatima yesterday, that least developed countries bear the brunt of the systematic shocks in relation to climate change. And Cambodia's mitigating actions, including transitioning towards a more environmentally friendly economy involving the development of three pillars of economies, namely green economy, blue economy, and circular economy. Cambodia actively pursues a path towards a green economy with policies including the National Strategic Plan on Green Growth 2013-2030. One of the main focus areas of this policy is to conserve the forest and biodiversity through carbon credit from deforestation and degradation RED Plus framework, Cambodia has already accumulated and sold over 11 million in carbon credits from forests. The carbon credits from the sales allow the generation of income that in turn can be used to for new conservation projects and community development. By the same token, Cambodian policy also focuses on 4 pillars of development pertaining sustainable cities, green buildings, sustainable energy, and sustainable consumption and production. In this regard, Cambodia works with Global Green Growth Institute, GGGI, which as consequence resulting in the Green Urban Development Program, which results in the establishment of Green City Strategic Plan methodology, Green Strategic Plan for Green Investment for Sustainable City Strategic Plan for 7 secondary cities. And Cambodia also worked to develop green building through which the projects involve the development of guidelines and certification standards using a rating system for constructing green buildings, both for residential and commercial buildings, and also working toward sustainable energy, prioritizing the development of renewable energy. Cambodia Alliance ministries and institutions work in collaboration with our development partners to realize this aspiration. Cambodia also promotes sustainable consumption and production through the efficient use of resources and for consumption and production while reducing environmental impact. Similarly, Cambodia also increasingly adopts sustainable practices to promote eco-friendly manufacturing, which includes business support for SMEs through capacity development, knowledge sharing, and access to green technologies. Our private sector, the commercial bank sector, also including a local bank, also offers an easy application process and loans at competitive rates. The aim is to expand eco-friendly businesses locally, which involve the development of business that focusing on renewable energy, energy efficiency, green ecotourism, green transportation, waste management, clean water, and certified green buildings. And we also work to develop our sustainable supply chains with the collaboration along with our textile, apparel, footwear, and travel goods association in Cambodia to promote the sustainable supply chain, aiming at reducing environmental footprint and adopt green supply chains practice, including energy auditing, energy management practices, investment in clean energy technologies, and sustainable logistics. By that, we work with the European Union Switch Asia program called Switch Garment Project. And we also work to encourage industry to adopt green practices by offering green industry awards to industry that promote green practices. We also working towards developing green special economic zones, aiming to increase the use of renewable energy efficient practices, and elements of circularity. And in the spirit of multilateral corporations, we adopt the multi-stakeholder partnerships, working with PAGE, it's called PAGE, a short form for the Partnership for Action on Green Economy. We joined the program in 2022, which made up of 5 UN agencies, funding partners, and 22 partner countries working together to promote sustainability. In terms of developing blue economy, economy. We know that the oceans or seas, marine resources are of great social economic benefits to, for instance, fisheries and tourism alongside coastlines among the main contributors to the livelihood of Cambodian people. Uh, it, the oceans also offer economical means for transportation. For example, sea freight is more cost-efficient option for long distances or across international borders, especially for large volumes and bulk shipments. Compared to air or rail transportation. By that, Cambodia works toward development of a blue economy through the implementation of national environmental strategy and action plans to ensure that the marine resources are sustainable and are used in a protected manner, along with well-being of coastline, coastal communities. To become Cambodia also becomes a signatory to many international agreements to elevate the environmental impacts of on the sea and oceans. For example, Cambodia joins the United Nations International Maritime Organization and ratifies all its principal conventions, including the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships. Short form is MAPRO. Cambodia also engaged in regional cooperation on oil spill preparedness and response with our neighboring countries, Thailand and Vietnam. The emphasis of this cooperation includes the exchange of information and knowledge, resource sharing, oil spill response exercises, and mutual assistance in response in case of there's oil leakage. Cambodia also signatory to the 2014 MOU on Asian Cooperation Mechanism for Joint Oil Spill Preparedness and Response. Cambodia also works to promote aquaculture in order to sustain wildlife fisheries through the National Aquaculture Development Strategies and also develop strategic planning framework SPF for fisheries to address illegal unreported and unregulated IUU fishing and the use of illegal fishing gas. Cambodia also becomes a signatory to international agreements related to fisheries and the aquatic environment, including Convention on Fisheries, Fishing and Conservation of Living Resources of High Seas, International Convention for the Regulation of Whaling, United Nations Convention on Laws of the Seas, UNCLOS, and Convention on Biological Diversity. Regionally, Cambodia also joins the Southeast Asian Fisheries Development Centers to promote the fisheries sector. In terms of promoting the circular economy, we know that industrialization along with urbanization without proper management measures leads to the accumulation of solid waste, including plastics and maritime debris, as well as liquid waste. These hazardous wastes undermine the biodiversity and ecosystem of Cambodia. In this regard, Cambodia addresses these issues by promoting circular economy through policy, including circular strategy on environment 2023-2028 that promotes solid waste management, particularly plastic waste, with the 4R principles: reduce, reuse, recycle, and refuse. National Environmental Strategy and Action Plan (NESAP) that helps promote an efficient waste management at the national and district levels. Cambodia also adopt Waste to Energy (WTE) that establish a national the country establishes
Recording in progress.
recover energy from waste and explores the feasibility of WTE projects, including those through public-private partnerships. The aims are to address growing waste management challenges and potentially to generate electricity from solid waste. In terms of other industry that is a main contributor to our economy is tourism sector. from this sector and also to preserve the environment, the culture.
If I could just ask you to
Okay. And by that, I would like to conclude my intervention and pass back to Madam Moderator. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pan. I hope participants, you can hear me. Really appreciated that very good overview of Cambodia. I think we were all quite attentive. It really cut across various, he gave us an overview cutting across various sectors simultaneously. And I think also very important, he highlighted the role of partnerships and the involvement of various partners, all contributing to the progress that that has happened in Cambodia. And that moves us into the next question or next speaker that I'd like to call upon, because as many of us are aware, the private sector is playing an increasingly important role in LDCs. But often the private sector, we've seen, faces a range of obstacles, from access to capital and technology, policy and regulatory frameworks, and infrastructure, just to mention a few. So I'd like to invite Her Excellency, Mrs. Sanna Hallinen, who is the Ambassador of Finland to Zambia, Malawi, and Zimbabwe, to share her perspectives on Finland's approach to the private sector partnership in Zambia. Your Excellency, over to you.
Thank you very much, and very good morning to you all. Very, very happy to be here and to talk about my very favorite subject, about private sector partnerships. Finland and Zambia indeed share a very long collaboration, a very strong and long partnership. And building the private sector partnerships has been a key focus area of that partnership for a very long time. So I will draw a few key lessons, particularly from that history. And I have four key lessons to start with, and then we can move forward a bit deeper in our discussion. The first lesson that I'm drawing from that history is that, and I think it's pretty much a no-brainer, but I think it still needs to be mentioned, is that long-term commitment pays off. As like in any development, it doesn't happen overnight. You need to make a long-term commitment. I could mention a few programs that have been significant. Firstly, a regional program that Finland has financed for a long time. It's now over, but I think we're still seeing the benefits of that. It's called SICE, the Southern Africa Innovation Support, and later a Zambia-specific program called AGS, Accelerated Growth for SMEs in Zambia. And both are very significant programs that Finland has financed, and we do see the benefits and the results still even today. So that's the first lesson. And then the second lesson I would draw is that building the foundation is really key and pays off. Both SICE and AGS has done a lot of good work in terms of building the foundation and reinforcing the sort of, the private sector foundations, building the innovation and startup ecosystem in Southern Africa and in Zambia. And today in Zambia, the startup ecosystem hubs, for instance, Bongo Hive and others are really strong. And I've been personally able to witness the growth of the startup ecosystem in Zambia, and we've been part of building that, and it's really been amazing to see that development, and that's really the key of where everything is based on. And if you don't build that foundation, it's really difficult to get things moving. And part of that is that we've been able to expose the private sector to the best international benchmarks. We brought the world's biggest startup and tech event, Slush, from Finland to Zambia, and we've been able to take Zambian startups to Slush to see what the world's best benchmarks are. So I think those are also very key. Then my third lesson would be focus on quality rather than numbers. And I think one of the key, sometimes us cooperating partners have the tendency of focusing on numbers and measuring our success in numbers. And don't get me wrong, I think numbers are really key, and of course we need to work with numbers. But typically a private sector development program would measure the number of companies trained, the number of companies that we have been including in our programs. Just to give you an example, the AGS program I was talking about had the budget of 9 million euros, and you would expect that maybe with 9 million euros you would train 1,000 companies, you would calculate the number of companies in thousands. Well, we didn't. We counted the number of companies in hundreds. And like us human beings, we are individuals. Well, companies are individuals as well. They have the individual challenges. They have the individual problems and needs. Of course, we had trainings that were sort of universal, that many companies attended, and we offered those services for many. But we also had tailor-made solutions. So we had companies that were able to get small-scale irrigation systems and trainings attached to that. Or we had a company who got ISO certified. So we were really able to tailor-make those services for those companies. And we were really proud that we actually knew the companies by name in most cases. And I think the results speak for themselves. We had really amazing growth figures for the companies that participated in our program. So I'm not speaking against measuring numbers, but we just have to be careful that we don't always say that, okay, the bigger the number is better. We need to be really careful in that. And then my fourth lesson is that we help the companies to internationalize. We heard the president yesterday speaking a lot about Zambia being not landlocked but land-linked, and I think that's an important message. We helped with the AGS program. We helped Zambian SMEs to go beyond Zambia's borders. We took the companies to explore the market in DRC twice. We took the companies over to Malawi to explore the market over there. And these were really successful trips. The companies came back with contracts worth of millions of dollars. And this still continues. They have these links. We did this together with the Zambia Development Agency. So it wasn't just, the Finns doing this, but we did it together with Zambia. And also we enhanced ties with the Finnish business community. And this is also the kind of foundation of why we have such vibrant links between the Finnish businesses and Zambian businesses. Just 2 weeks ago, we had the annual Finland Business Week, and we had over 20 companies from Finland visiting Zambia. And Finnish companies see the Zambian market as hugely interesting. And the AGS program is one of the key foundations of why we have this really vibrant collaboration between our business communities. So really trade and development working really hand in hand. So I think those would be to start off the discussion, my 4 sort of key lessons and takeaways, but I'm happy to continue the discussion. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Sana, for those insights. I think very important points raised, and as she said, when we come to all the presentations, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions and get more details. She touched on a number of things. I won't go into them, but just very briefly, what I took down was a long-term commitment, building strong foundations, and also alluded to the critical role of exchanges between countries and how that makes a difference. So thank you for that. I now turn to Mr. Alvaro Antonio Diaz Duque, who's the Deputy Director General from Multilateral and European Development Policies of Spain. And we are happy that you're here with us and really look forward to you sharing some examples of Spain's partnership in strengthening LDC's resilience to systemic shocks. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam, and thanks for inviting us to this really important and vital forum. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we are Spain's honored to participate in this dialogue on innovative financing and partnerships, as these are tools that we deem essential to build resilient economies in these developed countries. Resilience is not only about withstanding shocks, it is about creating the fiscal, institutional, and social conditions for inclusive and sustainable growth. What this means is supporting solutions that unlock finance at scale while aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals. For us, innovation in financing should serve a purpose, which would be strengthening climate adaptation, productive capacity, and social cohesion in vulnerable contexts. Spain contributes to this agenda in several concrete ways, in which I will center in 4 of them, giving, of course, a special importance to financing for development. The first element would be blended finance and public-private partnerships. In this sense, Spain actively promotes blended finance through our development cooperation instruments, including the FEDES Fund, which mobilizes concessional resources to de-risk private sector investments in LDCs, particularly in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and social infrastructure. We also work closely with the European Union's Global Gateway and other Team Europe initiatives to design structured partnerships that are able to blend public, private, as well as philanthropic capital around a shared development impact. Second element would be guarantees and risk-sharing instruments. Spain supports the expansion of guarantee mechanisms through partnerships with multilateral development banks. These tools lower the perceived risk of investments in least developed countries and can help crowd in private capital there where market failures persist. A third element would be promoting transparency and anti-corruption in financing. For us, transparency and governance are fundamental to effective and resilient financing. In this sense, Spain promotes international tax cooperation and support instruments to curb illicit financial flows, ensuring that resources mobilized truly reach the communities that need them most. And finally, one fourth element that I would like to stress, as you can imagine, in the year of the Sevilla conference, would be the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, which will take place, as I have just said, in Seville between June the 30th and July 2025. Excellencies and distinguished delegates, Spain is not only acting today, we're also preparing for the future, we're also preparing for tomorrow. And that's why we're hosting this 4th International Conference on Financing for Development. In our view, this conference would be a defining moment, as it aims to adopt a new global financing paradigm that reflects the real needs of developing countries, and secondly, provides concrete solutions to challenges such as debt, climate adaptation, and investment in public goods. Seville will strongly emphasize scaling up innovative financing mechanisms that can lead to tangible and lasting development outcomes.
The active participation of you, of the least developed countries, is for us essential to ensure that the outcome of the conference reflects a truly inclusive agenda, one that takes into account and responds to your specific realities and priorities, and is also able to lay the foundation for a more equitable international financing systems. We therefore encourage all least developed countries' partners to engage fully in the conference process and, in this sense, play an active role in the next and last preparation committee that will take place in New York from April the 13th to May 1st in the United Nations. We believe that your experience, insights, and leaderships are crucial in shaping Sevilla's agenda. Spain is firmly committed to making the conference a platform where these contributions translate into concrete funded actions. For us, the resilience of the least developed countries is not a side issue. It is a central issue for a stable, fairer global system. And in this sense, we hope your countries will be represented at the Seville conference at the highest level. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for that very clear and concise presentation from Mr. Alvaro Diaz-Duque. It was very clear in Spain's role and how Spain is supporting LDCs, and ending with a message about the very critical fourth international conference on financing for development, which we do expect will really change the financing environmental architecture. So with that, we have gone through all the 4 presentations, all touching different aspects of resilience, but all critical to our resilience building as LDCs and as we all endeavor to graduate along the way. So with that, I would like to really thank all the panelists for their insightful presentations. And now we have an opportunity for participants to ask questions, seek clarification, or contribute to any of the presentations that we have had. So I invite you all to just raise your hands and really take this opportunity to get the clarification that you may want to get. Thank you very much. Okay, I see we have Laos and then Mali and then Bangladesh. So if we can have those three in that order, then we'll take responses to those and then take another set of questions. So our delegates from Laos PDR, over to you.
Good morning everyone. My question are related to Mr. Laurent. Laos PDR is in a final stage of approval its National Adaptation Plan, NAP. As you mentioned, your organization has support 20 LDC for formulating and implementing of the NAP. Based this experience, what are the key challenges this country face in implement the NAP, and what strategic have proven effect in overcoming this barrier? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Can we have the second question from our delegates from Mali?
Merci bien, Madame la modératrice, pour la parole. Et félicitations aux différents panélistes pour la qualité de leur intervention. Mes questions s'adressent à M. Roland et à M. Alvaro. La première question, M. Alvaro, dans le cadre de l'implémentation du plan d'action, vous avez mentionné les noms de 8 pays, vous avez cité 8 pays pilotes sans en donner les noms. Est-ce qu'on peut avoir les noms de ces 8 pays pilotes et également les critères qui ont prévalu au choix de ces 8 pays pour la phase pilote et également la durée, la période de mise en œuvre de la phase pilote. Pour M. Alvaro, je pense que votre initiative d'organiser une conférence pour le financement du développement est à saluer et à encourager. Nous y adhérons. À cet égard, nous souhaiterons avoir d'amples informations sur le processus organisationnel à travers si des notes conceptuelles, des thèmes de référence sont déjà élaborés. Comme c'est sur le financement, est-ce que vous travaillez déjà avec le secrétariat des mécanismes, des conventions qui financent des actions au niveau de nos pays dans le cadre de la lutte contre les effets néfastes des changements climatiques? Je parle notamment du Fonds pour l'environnement mondial, du Fonds d'adaptation, du Fonds vert pour le climat et également les d'autres mécanismes financiers au niveau international dans le cadre de la mobilisation des ressources. Je vous remercie, Madame la modératrice.
Thank you very much for those two questions from Mali. I will now ask our delegate from Bangladesh to come in with their question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Now you can hear? Okay. Yes, I'm from Bangladesh. The first presenter told they will support 20 LDCs for preparing this National Adaptation Plan, but I want to share something. You know, Bangladesh already prepared the National Adaptation Plan and it is submitted to UNFCCC in 2022. And you know, the National Adaptation Plan, we need 230 billion US dollar. And it has pursuing NAP to seek additional climate finance in the trajectory to achieve LDC graduation by 2026 and become a middle income country by 2031 and a developed country by 2041. And you know, if we want to implement of this National Adaptation Plan, we have the, we realize that 6 goal through 23rd board scale strategies considering 11 climate stress areas over there and encompassing 8 distinct sectors like water resource, disaster, social safety and security, agriculture, fisheries, aquaculture and livestock, urban areas, ecosystem, wetland and biodiversity, policy and institution, and capacity development, research and innovation. And also NAP has the 113 intervention and there was 90 high priority interventions. And you know, and we also try to preparing for implementing this NAP, we also try to prepare the roadmap also, and ADB helped us right now. And also we try to find more excess fund, and for this reason Bangladesh government try to develop, already developed a BCDP, that means Bangladesh Climate Development Partnership. Different development partner come together and we are preparing 4 groups also, and this group try to collect fund of this for achieving this National Adaptation Plan. But I think if you help us from LDCs forum, if give fund for achieving this National Adaptation Plan, it would be more better, because we are really struggling for achieving this NAP, and also the NDC, Nationally Determined Contribution also, because we have so many so many conditions also, conditional and unconditional also. You know, Bangladesh also prepared Bangladesh Climate Change Strategy and Action Plan in 2009. And the Bangladesh Climate Change Trust Fund also Bangladesh prepared. And though Bangladesh has secured funding from global climate sources like GCF, least developed countries, adaptation fund, and other bilateral and multilateral sources, but still this international financial support remains significantly lower than the country's requirements. So I'm urged to the LDCs Forum to give support to that type of LDCs countries like Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for sharing the experience, but we also take note of the plea and the requests that you have put forward. I'll then ask our panelists to respond. I think, Roland, maybe we can start with you, and then we go to Mr. Alvaro, and if there are any others, I'll hand over the mic to them. But colleagues, we will have another round of questions, so if you still have questions, we will open up after these responses.
Thank you very much, moderator, and thank you to the three countries for those excellent questions. And I want to start with combining Lao and the Bangladesh questions regarding NAPAs and funding issues. And I would like to come back to how I started my presentation, where I said there are 5 deliverables. One is the resilience building mechanism, the other one the food stock holding mechanism. But then there's a third, and the third one there out of 5 is very much related to both your countries, Lao PDR and Bangladesh, which is the graduation support facility, or IGRAD. And also under that facility, and the 3 are very much linked. So I would also recommend to answer the plea of Bangladesh to look into that third deliverable and see if assistance from OHRS and the UN development system can come through there, because both of you are in the graduation pipeline. So that's something else to explore, and I would be happy to discuss that in more detail bilaterally one of these days. Then there were more questions specific on the NAPs and also on the multi-hazard early warning system, including from Mali, who asked about the pilot countries. And for that, I must say personally that I'm very lucky to count on the expert colleague that I have here with me. And with that, I would like to briefly ask Aniket to take the floor on those specific questions relating to the NAP and the early warning system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear? Yeah. So just first of all, the question by Cambodia. The LDC expert group under UNFCCC emphasized at the last COP that one of the biggest challenges faced by the LDCs in the NAP preparation process is securing the preparedness funding from the GCF. It takes up to 5 years, or they've now got an expedited track. So in terms of the challenges, this is something which we have sought to address in that module number 1 by helping those LDCs that are furthest behind in the process of preparing the NAPs. At least 7 LDCs have not begun the process yet, and 2025 is the date when NAPs are supposed to be on the table. So our efforts are going to be all hands on deck to make sure that we get a NAP or some form of NAP on the table. This is very important because it, on the one hand, provides a planning framework for the LDCs to undertake adaptation activities, but it's also a tool for securing further funding through the development of projects that are contained within the NAP. So these are the 2 areas where we have strategically picked our intervention to have maximum impact on the ground where it is most needed. Pour le représentant du Mali, vous avez demandé quels étaient les 8 pays pilotes. Au fait, nous ne les avons pas encore identifiés, mais nous avons quelques paramètres identifiés. Donc, premièrement, nous allons cibler un risque différent dans chacun de ces pays pilotes. Donc, des tsunamis, par exemple, la sécheresse, certainement, va y figurer. Un autre élément, c'est que nous allons sélectionner ces pays dans des régions différentes. Donc, donc à la fois en Afrique, dans le Pacifique et autres. Ceci, et nous allons également cibler une partie différente dans la chaîne d'alerte précoce. Donc, par exemple, la dissémination des alertes. Ceci dans le but de pouvoir faire des espèces d'études de cas qui pourraient être utiles à d'autres pays dans des situations similaires. Alors, nous ne savons pas encore identifier les différents pays, mais nous allons les sélectionner d'une manière d'être la plus grande utilité pour le plus grand nombre des PMA. Et dernièrement, lastly for the representative of Bangladesh, I just would like to congratulate Bangladesh for its extraordinary achievement in terms of climate change. If we look back 10, 15 years, the number of people at risk and affected by disasters was enormous, and Bangladesh progress is truly, I think, inspirational for many other LDCs, and they've also, in spite of the challenges of securing funding from the GCF, they are number one in terms of the amounts they have secured. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Pour les représentants du Mali, merci. Oui, ça. Oui, merci beaucoup pour la question. D'abord, bon, en ce qui concerne l'information générale sur la conférence, certains d'entre vous, on a déjà donné un document où il y a certains éléments basiques pour la participation, l'état de préparation de la conférence. Donc, vous pouvez nous approcher à n'importe quel moment et on peut vous apporter ce document. Et d'un autre côté, en ce qui concerne les aspects organisationnels les plus concrets, là, il faut s'adresser au département d'ESA des Nations Unies, qui est directement lié à l'organisation de la conférence, surtout à l'appui, à la présence de certaines délégations. Et d'un autre côté, en ce qui concerne, parce que je pense que je peut-être pas trop bien compris votre question, c'était surtout par rapport aux aspects environnementaux, des aspects de l'environnement, n'est-ce pas? Parce que, bon, je peux vous dire ce qu'on est en train de défendre en tant que, bon, plutôt en tant qu'Union européenne, parce qu'à ce moment-là, c'est l'Union européenne qui est en train de faire les négociations dans le comité préparatoire des Nations Unies. Mais d'un point de vue, je ne peux pas parler de relations directes avec des plans de planification, de plans environnemental. En même temps, il faut tenir compte qu'il y a aussi le COP30 qui aura lieu à Berlin-du-Para, donc on a préféré rater les processus indépendants. Mais d'une certaine manière, on a des éléments environnementaux qu'on défend, par exemple dans les aspects de la dette. Maintenant, ça va? Ça va? Oui. De la dette publique, on est en train de travailler sur le besoin d'inclure des clausules de OK. Donc des clausules de suspension du paiement de la dette par des catastrophes naturelles et des crises climatiques. Aussi, le besoin d'inclure un set de principes d'investissement socialement responsables, et ça, évidemment, inclut des patrons environnementaux et des standards environnementaux très, très clairs, environnementaux, pardon. Et d'un autre côté aussi, la possibilité d'introduire des impôts verts internationaux. Là, c'est un élément qu'on considère aussi que ça sera plus facile de matérialiser au sein de la COP30 de Belém, mais en même temps, peut-être la conférence de Séville sera un bon moment pour commencer à y travailler. Et aussi un point très important pour l'Espagne, on espère que ça va se matérialiser, serait la possibilité de recanaliser l'assignation des droits spéciaux special rights of IMF. Et en particulier pour appuyer les pays en matière d'action climatique. Mais bon, ce sont plusieurs éléments qu'on peut travailler, mais quand même, oui, on cherche surtout d'éviter des duplications avec la COP30. Mais bien sûr, les éléments climatiques sont dans les éléments de financement dans tout. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Alvaro, for that response, and also for Roland for the responses he gave. Participants, I know I had said we'd go through another set of questions, but we have come to the end of our time, and I don't want to impact on the other sessions. I know I've seen once. What I'd like to encourage is that please reach out to the panelists. If you have a question or you want to engage on the private sector, please reach out directly to Ambassador Sana. If it is about the guidelines, reach out to Roland. If you want to learn more about the Cambodia experience, please reach out to Mr. Pan. And if you want to reach out to the financing for development and also how Spain has been supporting the opportunities that Spain has to support LDCs, please reach out to Mr. Alvaro during the tea break or throughout the day. Thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward to your continued engagement throughout the day. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to all the participants.
I have to make a very quick reflection as the kind of Director of Climate and Environmental Diplomacy at the Finnish MFA, because I listened very carefully about what was said about adaptation climate finance, which we deal with. I'm on the board of the Fund for Responding to Loss and Damage, and also the board of the GCF. And I just have to say that I think we as Finland and as the European Union are very supportive of ensuring that a lot of the money, the climate funding, is really, it prioritizes the LDCs and the SIDS. But I would also encourage the LDC negotiators to really speak with a very clear voice in the multilateral settings. Because I sometimes feel that we are defending your share of the funding in the end more than your own negotiators are. And I think it's difficult. You're in a regional group. You're also in the G77 plus China, but it's really important that the LDCs also speak as LDCs in the settings where climate finance is decided upon. Okay, now I go back to my MC role. And thank the panelists very much, and I think we are very well on schedule. I would ask you to come back after a coffee break that we'll have now. Can you please come back to the room at 10:25, and then we'll be able to start on time with the next thematic session. Thanks very much. So back at 10:25. to Heidi, and I will ask her to then take over the panel. Thank you.
A very good morning, everyone. Really nice to be here. Very honored to moderate this important panel. That, as Anna mentioned, the topic is exploring innovative approaches to promote economic diversification and enhance resilience through circular economy and sustainable industrial practices. I am Heidi Skruderis-Fox, permanent rep of Finland in Geneva, as Anna mentioned, but I also used to work as the director for UN OHR LLS for 12 years, since about a year and a half ago, and I was initiating this LDC Future Forum at that time, and it's fantastic to see now how it has grown into this event, and really so pleased to see each and every one of you here participating, and great to have it also organized in one of the LDCs. Really happy to be here in Zambia. So, as we navigate the challenges of global economic growth and sustainability, and challenges there are, we all know that, it's really essential to recognize the traditional model of production and consumption, which were that resources were extracted, used, and then discarded. This is no longer viable. And circular economy presents really a possibility for a transformative approach, one that prioritizes resource efficiency, waste reduction, and sustainable development. And it was also very interesting yesterday to hear many of the Zambian ministers mentioning the importance of these innovative approaches of circular economy. For LDCs, of course, the circular economy offers a unique opportunity to also possibly leapfrog to more modern technologies. And LDCs that are often characterized by limited industrial infrastructure and financial constraints, they can leverage these circular economic principles to build resilient and self-sustaining economies. And of course, this also promotes very much and aligns itself with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. When we look at those, particularly those that relate to responsible consumption and production, which is SDG 12, climate action, SDG 13, and also poverty eradication, SDG 1. So through innovative policies, investment in green technologies, and knowledge-sharing partnerships, LDCs can foster inclusive growth while mitigating environmental degradation. So this transition might not be without its challenges, but today we will hear from a very distinguished panel and our keynote speaker about ways to move circular business models from this niche to the mainstream. And it's my great pleasure and honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Fatou Haidara, who is Deputy to the Director General and Managing Director of UNIDO, and she will be our keynote speaker. And I'm also introducing our panelists. We have Mr. Markus Silverberg, founder of Block Solutions. We have Abubakar Mayemba, who is a researcher. We have Mr. Kari Herlevi, who is Program Director of Sitra Finland on Finnish Investment Fund. And we have Ms. Vidya Amrit Khan, who is Advisor and on Standing Committee on Circularity and former Director of Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association. And last but not least, we have Oscar Ngai Zenga, who is founder of EcoFit Text. So looking very much forward to hearing from all of you. And now I would like to hand over to Ms. Fatou Haidara. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Excellencies, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to address you today on behalf of UNIDO. We'll be looking at innovative approaches to economic diversification and enhancing resilience through circular economy and sustainable industrial practices. To put all these in simple terms, the question before us is how LDCs can transition to sustainability while fostering the economic growth and sustainable development. We all in this room recognize the unique challenges faced by LDCs. So today I would like us to focus on the opportunities for transformative change in LDCs. We also all know that LDCs are rich in untapped potential. LDCs possess 80% of the world's renewable energy potential. They have vast tracts of arable land and a young, dynamic population. But these are not to be seen as resources to be exploited. They are the foundation of a sustainable, prosperous future. Realizing this potential requires a shift in approach. How? By embracing sustainable industrial practices, LDCs can turn these opportunities into drivers of long-term economic growth. Investing in energy efficiency, cleaner production, and renewable energy resources can reduce reliance on finite resources, lower greenhouse gas emissions, and improve competitiveness in global markets. A crucial step in this transition is economic diversification. This is a necessity for resilience and long-term growth. Expanding into new industries and sectors creates jobs, enhances productivity, and contributes to improving living standards. I was talking about shifting, but to make this shift successful, LDCs must embrace structural transformation, and this transformation should be green, shifting away from commodity dependence towards diversified, climate-resilient industries will make economies stronger and more adaptable to global market shifts. I would like to propose few avenues to explore. The first one is the adoption of circular economy. This model could present a practical way to achieve economic diversification, as already mentioned by Hedy. This approach emphasizes efficient use of resources, minimizes waste, and maximizes value throughout the life cycle of products. By adopting circular economic principles, LDCs can reduce their environmental footprint, create new business opportunities, and enhance resilience to economic and environmental shocks. Another avenue that I would like us to explore is the critical area of the promotion of renewable energy. through initiatives such as the Global Network of Regional Sustainable Energy Centers, UNIDO and our partners have facilitated the deployment of renewable energy technologies, enhanced energy access, and promoted energy efficiency in LDCs. And third avenue, to complement such efforts, one must also focus on skills development and inclusive industrialization. Over 60% of workers in LDCs lack formal training. Yet, green sectors could create 20 million jobs by 2030. At UNIDO, we are prioritizing vocational training in sustainable agriculture and green technologies. We are also fostering public-private partnerships to create agro-industrial hubs that can underpin local economies. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to address the challenges faced by LDCs, we must work holistically and explore innovative approaches that leverage technology, knowledge, and partnerships. Let me provide you with some concrete examples of how UNIDO's experience in fostering innovation and technology transfer shows the way. We have facilitated the adoption of advanced manufacturing technologies. We have supported green industries and promoted digital solutions to enhance the productivity and sustainability of various industries and sectors. I will go with some concrete examples. One example which exemplifies this approach is UNIDO's Global Eco-Industrial Parks program. This program has transformed traditional industrial parks into eco-industrial parks by promoting resource efficiency, waste minimization, and industrial symbiosis. We have demonstrated how switching to sustainable industrial practices can drive economic growth and environmental sustainability. In a similar vein, I would like to share some more inspiring UNIDO success stories that highlight the transformative potential of circular economy and sustainable industrial practices. In Rwanda, Circular Economy Initiative saw the implementation of a national strategy focusing on waste management and resource efficiency. The result was a reduction of plastic waste by 30% and the creation of over 1,000 jobs in recycling and waste management sectors. Another example is in Bangladesh, the textile industry. Textile industry transformation supported the adoption of sustainable practices, including water recycling and energy-efficient technologies, leading to a 20% reduction in water usage and a 15% decrease in energy consumption. The third example is in Ethiopia. The renewable energy expansion increased renewable energy generation by 50% over 5 years, providing clean energy to millions of households and reducing fossil fuel reliance. Ladies and gentlemen, just to say that as the United Nations organization, the operational strategy for LDCs 2022-2031 to support the transition to sustainability while fostering economic growth and sustainable development. Our LDC strategy focuses on 6 key areas: investing in people, leveraging science, technology and innovation, structural transformation, trade and regional integration, building resilience, and fostering solidarity and partnerships. Because the United Nations system only works in its entirety, the various specialized agencies, funds, and programs complement one another. Advancing our common agenda requires joint action, broad political and financial support, and a strengthened United Nations system. We therefore thank our the partner countries and institutions for the immense support rendered so far to help industrialize LDCs. To conclude, I would say that by embracing sustainable approaches, LDCs can pave the way for a more resilient and prosperous future. The journey towards graduation is not merely about economic metrics. It is about fostering inclusive growth, building resilient economies, and improving the quality of life for all. I would like to express my gratitude to all participants for their commitment to this important cause. Your expertise and dedication are invaluable as we work together to create a brighter future for LDCs. I look forward to a fruitful and engaging discussion, and I'm confident that the insight gained today will contribute significantly to advancing our shared goal. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Fatou, for such an excellent presentation and really setting our agenda for our panel today. And thank you also for really concrete proposals and examples that you have mentioned. Those were very interesting. And I have to say that there were a few statistics there that you mentioned that really raised my interest. One was that 80% of world's renewable energy is in LDCs. That's a remarkable number, and what an opportunity it has within it. And the other one that you mentioned was that there are about 20 million new jobs in green tech by 2030 in LDCs, and countries like Zambia with a huge young population. That's a really important and interesting number and opportunity. So thank you very much, and also thank you for the important work that UNIDO is doing in support of the LDCs. So that was a great start for our discussion and our panelists, and we will move immediately on. And it's my great pleasure and honor to invite Mr. Marco Silverberg on how we make sustainable building a reality. Marcus, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Greetings from Finland and from the private sector. So let's start by watching some movies, because that will give you a little bit more information what we're doing. So could we please have the first movie? So this is actually a common site here in Kenya, where my second home is. Okay. Anyone? Can we get it back? Yep. But nevertheless, this is actually what we're doing. We're producing building blocks made from recycled materials. This block is made from 50% wood fiber and 50% recycled plastics. But as we have, for example, our panelist is actually here, we can actually use also textiles, 50% textiles for instead of the fibers, car rubbers, rubber tires and so on. But let's now, when the movie is over there, so let's have a look over here. On the island of Lomla, there was an earthquake in 2018 which destroyed 1,200 schools. We first imported the blocks from Finland and we started building schools on the island. And then gradually, actually, we transformed so that we will start the production locally of the blocks on the island. We have built so far in the 16 months of operations 200 schools on that island. And this is actually what we're proposing to have. As you can see, the previous school was built in 6 days, but let's say this is the opportunity that we have here. It's just not schools, it's also, let's say, more qualified housing. So this is actually in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. We're building a house made of recycled blocks. Those who know us will know recycled blocks. And we have built this house of 420 square meters in just 12 days. As you can see, the work is quite super. So let's say, drama queen over there in the background. This is the thing that I would like to have in each one of these countries. So what we're doing, we're finding a partner in the local countries, setting up a factory together with you, and then start the local manufacturing made from the material that you already have in those countries and transforming the waste into value. Could you perhaps show the next slides over there? Just scroll around the videos over there. Okay, so this is, for example, an example where we have a lot of support, of course, from the Finnish government, which I'm very grateful for. This is actually the South African president with our president building with the blocks. And you know, if the presidents can build, then everyone can build. That is actually my boss also over there, my wife over there building with them. But let's say she's the architect over there. And the next slide, please. So these are the persons that we want to impact. Giving these the future generation a possibility. We're overspending our natural resources. Yes, I am very responsible for that. But I'm trying to fight back also by giving people these opportunities to go green, to build green with the things that we have at hand already. That concludes my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. How exciting, and really how to transform waste into something so valuable and so important. And waste is something that everybody has around us, and to make it into value is a really great opportunity. I'm sure you will have lots of questions about that.
Hope so.
All right, and now we continue with our next panelist, Mr. Abubakar Mayemba, who is going to talk about what they are doing in Uganda on innovative e-waste circular economy model and how that is contributing to the resilience of communities in Uganda. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Abubakar Mayemba from Uganda, working with the International Organization for Migration in Bidibidi, the largest refugee settlement in Africa. So I'm here to present to you about how we are working with the communities, building their resilience by focusing on circular economy for the e-waste. As you know, e-waste is any type of electronics that have come to their end of life. And I realize that globally, outside Africa, there's some strategies to manage it. About 20% of it is formally recycled and handled. However, when it comes to Africa, almost 70% of e-waste generated in Africa is not collected, not recycled, and yet we are advancing to the side of things, electronic, everything is electronic. But our strategies are quite difficult. Next slide, please. So IOM had a case study with funding from Innovation Norway and private sector entities, Bright, TIOS, Solvos, and Aseli Africa, to try to come up with solutions that manage electronic waste. And then here we came up with solutions focused on promoting the circular economy by conducting awareness campaigns, training the local refugees and host communities, youth. We have 20 in number. And these were skilled to be able to ease access to repair services, because at the start of the project, we realized that access to repair services was a big challenge within these settings. As private sector, as humanitarian agencies, during emergencies, we supply relief items that include solar lanterns, radios, and all that. However, after 5-6 years when these items break down, repair is a big challenge. So we did train these people via circular economy, and we're able to bring in also innovation, looking at the lithium battery cells, the waste. So we collect this waste and then are able to repurpose it into second life battery packs that we intend to put on the market, but then also improving livelihoods. We have a cooperative, as you can see from the numbers here. We have a business cooperative run by the refugees themselves, 21 in number, who are managing e-waste collection, recycling, and then the innovative bit of testing and marketing, the batteries. And we see that for circular economy is a value chain. It has to be included from the manufacturer to the end user. You have to include in strategies that make it easier to collect e-waste and then repair it. Next slide, please. Yes, and then from our activities, the key challenges we have is the lack of coordination between the different manufacturers and also the humanitarian agencies. And we lack sustainable procurement policies within our operations, be it the manufacturers and then the humanitarian agencies. But then another key component is the lack of e-waste management infrastructure. In Africa and Uganda particularly, e-waste management is not quite extensive like the other types of of waste management. So we lack those strategies and structures in place to manage it. But then also the policies currently that we have are not strong enough for us to manage and benefit optimally from the e-waste that we have. Next slide, please. Yes, so we're trying to kind of address it, and we understand that these are the key findings from and the impact. Community participation is very key in having e-waste kind of beneficial and sustainable in a way. But then we realize that, sorry, just a minute. Yes, we realize that also it's a long-term strategy. You don't invest in innovation and circularity and you expect results within the next month or a few months. It's a long-time strategy that requires patience, requires change in policies from the top level, from the manufacturer, government to the end user. And then the other key aspect is very critical that you involve the communities in the end, because what we do as policymakers is come up with ideas at the top without involvement in the community. But when you have something like a circular economy model anywhere, be it a business, the community has a key role to play because they own the solution. So from us, basically, that is it, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another very interesting presentation and very concrete ideas, and great to hear. E-waste, of course, is something all of us have e-waste at home sitting, and we don't know what to do about it. So this whole chain of different, where you start from the collection and then going through the different phases into finally marketing, recycling, and so on, is very interesting and really great to hear how you can change the lives and livelihoods of people living in these communities, and how you make sure that it is a community-based effort. Very, very interesting. And also important what you said, that you need a long-term strategy. This is not only something you can do in a kind of short time span. So we will now move on with our next presentation, and it's my great honor and pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Kari Herlevi, who will present on reimagining sustainability and how Sitra, which is the Finnish investment fund, is shaping a circular future. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Sitra is the future fund for Finland, so very unique organization established 1967 already, making sure that Finland prospers in the future, but our work has been, especially in the circular economy space, very global. I give you 3 examples how we are shaping the future. I very much liked what your president, Zambia's president, mentioned about being proactive, not reactive, and we try to be that from the Finnish perspective. And first example of Sitra's work is the European Union Circular Economy Research Center that we established this year with our partner Finnish government, of course, but also Belgian Development Agency and the Commission. So this will focus on the connections between European Union and its partner countries, mostly in Global South, and we will have 3 labs, knowledge lab which will provide this kind of proactive insight of circular economy trends globally. The second thing is that what we will do is the policy work in the policy labs, where we will focus on supporting national roadmaps and strategies in circular economy, also peer-to-peer exchanges between Europe and Global South, and also train-to-trainee models as well. And thirdly, this is nothing without businesses, as we have seen these exciting examples. So the business lab will also focus in Africa. There will be business hubs established by our partner in Africa in 3 different locations as well. The second example, which is of course important from the policy perspective, is our work in Finland. Finland was the first country in the world to launch the national roadmap, and I led the process myself, and it's been an exciting road from that initial roadmap 2016 to governmental plans later on. We had a very proactive and engaging process with different stakeholders in Finland, 1,000 participants from businesses to policymakers to NGOs, and finally having like a clear project forward what to do in Finland. We also made a national guidebook how to make a roadmap, and that has been a bestseller in Sitra's perspective internationally as well. We have also supported, together with Finnish government and other partners, African Development Bank, when they established the Circular Economy Trust Fund, Circular Economy Facility in the continent. In Finnish case, when I go back to the roadmap and what were the cornerstones of it, one of the key things was education. So we integrated circular economy in all education levels, even from kindergarten level to universities, and that has been one of the success cases in the Finnish context.
Recording
the third
stopped.
example I would like to give here is the World Circular Economy Forum that we established with the Finnish government 2017 when Finland turned 100 years old as a gift to the world. And it has been a great success from the day one, and it has been hosted in different parts of the world, in Canada, in Japan, in Brussels, in Belgium, and I don't know, is there anybody from Rwanda here? Can you raise your hands?
Recording
if
in
there are?
progress.
Excellent. So special thanks to Rwanda for hosting the first forum here in Africa 22, which was a great success. Not only because Rwanda launched its national roadmap with the extensive 200 million package to support that. There were countries like Chad and Gabon who joined African Circular Economy Alliance. And in Brussels edition 24, there was the African Union that launched the continental-wide Circular Economy Action Plan. So certainly Africa has been quite active in this space, and we are hoping to see you all in our next edition in Sao Paulo in Brazil in May this year. But this forum really gathers together the key decision makers globally. It has a reach of 50 million worldwide, and the audience is around 20,000 per each edition. And it's important because we have to gather together and really focus on the actions on the ground. And For those purposes, we have also focused on knowledge side of circular economy, and if you're interested in our work, you can have a look of the reports that we have made between circular economy and connections to biodiversity laws and how to strengthen nature and also climate. And we have also made a lot of playbooks for industries. Manufacturing industry, like was mentioned in the keynote, it is key for industrialization that you focus on that as well. But I'll stop here and give the floor to the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kari, and very interesting to hear about Sitra's work and also your talk about these very interesting roadmaps and how we get there. You had mentioned, and maybe I'll just use my role as the moderator to already now, you have mentioned that there are 3 hubs in Africa. Where exactly are these hubs?
We are in a mapping phase at the moment, so they are not decided yet. So
okay.
There's a potential for influence us as well.
Exactly, that's a good opportunity for if you want to have a business hub. All right.
Bangladesh.
Thank you very much. Good opportunity. So now it's my great honor and pleasure to give the floor to Ms. Vidya Amrit Khan to present on how the Bangladesh Manufacturers and Exporters Association is pioneering sustainability, and in particular in the context of circular economy. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I am the former director of the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association, and the reason why I am very proud to be the former director is because back in 2021 we were the first board of directors, or the first board to start the journey on circularity in Bangladesh. Previously, during COVID, there was another project, but unfortunately it could not go very far. One of the main projects that we run is UNIDO's Switch to Circular Economy into project in Bangladesh, where our scope is to formalize the informal sector. Interestingly enough, in Bangladesh, we are the second largest producer of garments in the world, followed by China, although the difference is a lot. Regardless, we produce about, officially what we know is about 500,000 tons of waste every year. Bangladesh, being a developing country, a very young country, we have had traditionally the culture of hand-me-downs. So the garment that one person had, or the clothing that they had, would automatically go down to the younger child, then to the villages, unfortunately, the poorer relatives, and then that clothing would then be transformed into, once it was not wearable anymore, they would use it as washing cloth or cleaning material or things like that. And in the end, finally, when there was not much left of it, they would use it to burn, to cook, and things like that. So Bangladesh, in a way, has been circular from the start because of the way our economic demographic is. However, the whole industry, even now, more or less, majority of it is informal. And our journey in this project is to make this informal sector formal. There are garment clusters within Bangladesh, mainly in Dhaka, for those of you who have visited. And what happens is, the recycling, it's formed like this. The garment factory usually doesn't engage in any kind of recycling facility as of yet. So the local person, who is your local community councillor, will come and collect the waste from the factory. They will then take that waste and they will segregate it. And once they segregate it, they send it off to those who turn it into bales. And then 60% of our waste is actually exported to China, to India, somewhat to even Sweden. For then the waste to be turned into fiber and then sent back to China and then respun into fabric and then sent back to Bangladesh. Unfortunately, in that whole process, the carbon footprint is huge. And it kind of doesn't, you don't get the full benefits of recycling. What we are now trying to do in Bangladesh, and recently there has been multiple factories that have understood the advantages of being a recycler. We are taking the waste from within the country. We are taking it to the segregators. We are turning it into what is similar to fiber like cotton. Then we send it to the spinners, who then mix it with virgin cotton, fiber, and then the garment factories, and we are producing. Of course, as many of you may know, Bangladesh is graduating from an LDC status. And with this graduation, potentially we look at losing about $8 billion in exports. Although countries like the EU, the UK, Australia, and Canada have given us an extension, regardless, what we are going to lose out on are the tax benefits or the trade benefits that we get. Therefore, Bangladesh really has to sort of catch up into being a country that people will want to import from by being competitive. You know, as when we graduate, the sustainability regulations, the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, the HERD Directive, and all of these systematic changes that we will be facing will include that Bangladesh becomes a more responsible country in becoming more sustainable. One of the journeys that we are now focusing on is, of course, circularity. Recently, through the UNIDO project, we have also engaged with our brands, namely H&M, Bestseller from Denmark, and other brands who are now engaging in teaching us the ways in which we could become more circular in designing. However, what we are lacking in Bangladesh is policy regulations. While private sector investment companies, people like myself, while we want to engage in becoming recyclers, what does not exist is a complete and comprehensive tax structure. We do not give any incentive for being recyclers. Renewable energy is also limited for Bangladeshi manufacturers when we talk about chemical recycling. In Bangladesh, what we can now do is more mechanical recycling and not the chemical recycling because we don't have enough renewable energy. The percentage to the grid is about 4.7%, which is hardly enough to become a country where we can look at growing to be a proper big recycling country. While we look at such challenges, at the same time, we are looking to negotiate further with the EU in free trade agreements whereby we can negotiate further improvements in the way in which we can get tax benefits and make our goods more competitive in the market, in the global market. I will stop here and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Also extremely interesting what you have said, and of course Bangladesh as one of the largest, or if not the largest, manufacturers of garments in the world. What you do in this area is extremely important for all of us. And it was interesting also what you said about the tradition, that there is a natural tradition of recycling, reusing your garments. And I think that that's something we also share in Finland. At least my generation was very much used to that the clothes would go to the next child and to the neighbors and into the rags and so on. But of course, modern day you have a lot of fast fashion. It goes very quickly, and I have to say that I've been very impressed to see that in Finland there's a big movement towards second-hand, using second-hand clothing, and lots of shops. It's very fashionable now, so that's a very important and interesting topic. Thank you very much. And now we have our last panelist. It's my great honor and pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Oscar Ndeisenga to present on how agricultural waste can power a new era of textile production. The floor is yours.
there is a problem. That textile and the textile industry have a problem to get the ecological fibers. And then they are using the synthetic and plastic fibers that is from petrol. This is harmful for environment and also the health of the human. And then we see that cotton plant is leading the plant that given the ecological fibers, but at the moment it decreases because the farmers are interested in other plant that can give a lot of production. Also, the farmers are burning a lot of ton of waste from agriculture. This will be a thing that can contribute to produce fibers that can help textile and industry. And then here as solution we can transform the water from agriculture. We can extract the fibers from the water that given by intelligent plant that is possible to give food and fibers, because at the moment the population of the global continue to increase and they need the food. This is very important that we find intelligent plant that can give at the same time the food and the fibers. We cannot manage the waste without the plan. A lot of LDCs country don't have the roadmap of circular economy. Why is it very interesting that the countries in LDCs can have the roadmap for managing the water, for help in textile and the fashion industry. So the water can help also to create the job in the rural area and the job for women and girls. But the problem is that the certification of the fibers from other plants are not did until now. Why I would like to insist to the honor that I'm here, that we can help the startup company or the company that is producing the fibers from agroasta to get the certification of the fibers that is from another plant except the cotton. This is important. By the ending my presentation, we would like to mention that success of all this will depend on us, the decision we are making every day, because there we really have that textile and the fashion industry can help us to reduce the gas emission by using the ecological fibers. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Thank you very much. Really interesting to hear how you get ecological fibers using intelligent plans as for your textile manufacturing. Very, very innovative ways of doing things and involving the communities as well. Thank you very much for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard a great panel, I would say, a lot of interesting, innovative, new ideas, and now I will turn to you. I hope that you have lots of good and questions. We have ample time for continuing our dialogue here. I see Sierra Leone followed by Gambia and then Ethiopia and Angola. I'll take those 4 now, and then we will continue after that.
Okay, it's come on. I saw the red button. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for leading such a great panel. And I must also thank you for being the pioneer for the LDC Future Forums. This is my first meeting, and oh boy, I've missed on these very rich discussions for the last 2 forums, due mainly to visa constraints. I hope next year's forum will afford LDCs the opportunity to be in Finland to witness the fourth forum. As you said, this is a very remarkable panel that we are able to assemble, and I've really benefited a lot from the discussions. I just want to pick on, I want to bring the earlier panel that Mr. Roland spoke regarding the blue economy, that it's a way of diversification in LDCs, moving away from the more traditional sectors we have and bringing in the blue economy, the circular economy. We're in the process of developing a blue economy framework with support from UNDP, but it's still in its nascent form, so I'm wondering how the Office of High Representative for the least developed countries can support these processes in LDCs. On the circular economy, listening to all the components, they do exist somehow in LDCs, but it will be helpful to support LDCs in having all these elements put together in a more structured manner under the umbrella of the circular economy. I think it's important for agriculture, it's important for environment, because, and the e-waste, we see most of our countries, the waste all over is a big environmental challenge. So how can we bring all these pieces together so that LDCs will be able to, the circular economy can be popularized in LDCs, and processes of developing, of diversifying the economies, bringing in the blue economy, as I said in the case of Sierra Leone, can be supported in the LDCs, because Adera from UNIDO said on the circular economy that the adoption of a circular economy model presents opportunities for transformative change in LDCs. I think this is very important. How can we benefit from all of these processes? Thank you.
Thank you very much for excellent comments and questions, and bringing also the blue economy into this, which is an important part, of course, in particular for the small island developing states, and several of the LDCs are also coastal countries, so it's an important element. Thank you. Then it was back there. Yes. Yeah, the Gambia. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the floor. I have 2 questions. One for UNIDO. Ma, thank you for the brilliant keynote speech. But then my question will be on most of the LDCs, especially my country, the Gambia, struggle with formalization. if you want to build on economic diversification and resilience, I think it's one of the more important sector you should work on. Before the global financial crisis, we bragged that the informal sector is the most resilient sector because it's not part of the formal financial flows. But then when COVID-19 came and hit, we realized that it's one of the most vulnerable sector because their resilience has been broken down. And this sector is full of youth and women whom you consider as the most vulnerable. Their livelihood was disrupted. So I want to know what are the best practices UNIDO can propose to LDC countries in terms of coming with the policy approaches or programs for formalizations in LDC so that they can also be adopted, incorporated within the formal mainstream economic procedures. Because we've realized that their contribution, especially in the Gambia to GDP, is close to 20 to 25%. But they are very informal. Some of them struggle to even benefit from normal services of government. My second question is to my brother from Finland. But before my question, I want to start by telling you that to consider the Gambia as one of the 3 pilot countries for the hubs, if that is possible. You've made a compelling case with regards to adaptation and deployment of relevant technologies in the diversification. So I want to hear more on the Finnish experience. What are the circular economy incentives that we are deployed to businesses in Finland that can also be adopted in LDC countries? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your concrete questions. I think that were addressed mostly to Fatou and Kari, but others can also chime in once we get there. Next is Angola, followed by Ethiopia.
Madam Moderator, thank you for giving me the floor. And I would like also to thank the panelists for their insightful presentations. Economic diversification is a national priority in Angola. We recognize the potential of the circular economy to create sustainable jobs, reduce dependency on primary exports, and promote cleaner, more resilient growth. We are advancing waste management projects, technical training, and women's participation in sustainable value chains. In line with our National Development Plan 2023-2027, Angola is developing a green industrial transition agenda, combining diversification, low-carbon strategies, and inclusive industrialization. We emphasize the need to create a favorable ecosystem for local innovation, supporting green startups and centers of excellence in sustainable industries. Youth must be at the heart of this transformation. I have 2 questions for Mr. Marcos. First, what are the conditions for your company to enter a new market, like my own country, Angola? Second one, what is the average price for a typical house built by Block Solutions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Angola, also very direct questions and comments. Next is Ethiopia.
Thank you, moderator. I also would like to thank the Deputy Director General and Managing Director of UNIDO, Ms. Fatou, for acknowledging the efforts of the Ethiopian government in renewable energy generation and transmission in Ethiopia. We also appreciate the key role that UNIDO is continuing to play in supporting Ethiopia's development endeavors. Over the past years, the Ethiopian government was heavily invested in this sector, in renewable energy production, which is a key driver of economic development and registered remarkable progress. The renewable energy potential in Ethiopia is very, very high, especially in hydro, solar, wind, and geothermal power generation. This potential is, I think, a key development accelerator and can enhance the development of the country, driving millions of people out of poverty. It will also play a key role in speeding up regional integration. This time around, Ethiopia is exporting renewable energy to Sudan, Kenya, Djibouti, and Tanzania. It's also working to provide this clean energy to other neighboring countries such as South Sudan. Doing this, Ethiopia is connecting the Horn of Africa region and contributing to regional integration. And regional integration is a key goal of Agenda 2063 and that of the DPOA. Yet we need huge investment in the sector. The challenge remains that investment in the sector needs huge resources in many aspects, not only power generation, but also building the transmission infrastructure demands a lot of investment and continues to be a hurdle. This is where the role of partners lie. In this regard, Ms. Fatou, what do you think should be the role of the UN agencies and other partners in addressing this key bottleneck, and in what way, and in availing the very much needed resources to speed up the progress of Ethiopia toward this graduation from the LDC category? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ethiopia. I think I'm going to cut it here for our panelists to give a bit of answers. On my list, I have next this researcher in the front row. I have Benin, I have Burundi, and I have Bangladesh. I have a little bit of a blind spot, that's LDC Watch. I will add you here on my list. I see also LDC Tech Bank is sitting in. It's a little bit of a blind spot, so if I can't see you, LDC something solutions. Okay, very good. I will add you on the list, and DRC. Hopefully we will have time for everyone, and Burkina Faso, very good. I'm very happy to hear. So maybe just this short back to the panelists, and then we will continue with the next round. I think I will start with you, Fatou, because many of the questions were given directly to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's better now. Okay. Well, thank you very much for the comments and the questions. Before answering, I should inform you that before being a UNIDO staff, I was a minister in an LDC. I'm from Mali, and I was a minister for industry, trade, and private sector development. So I have a specific personal interest in these discussions. The question, I would try to combine some of the questions. What UNIDO or the UN system can do, how we can move from informal to formal. For us, the approach should be holistic. That means it should start at the macro level with the right policies. And then meso level is to support the capacity building of the institutions that will be helping to implement the policies and the strategies. The third level is at the enterprise level, which deal with skills development, access to market, use of technologies, innovation. But all this cannot be done overnight. It cannot be done by one institution. It requires partnerships. I think this is critical when it comes to supporting the LDCs. To go back to the specifics of what we propose as UNIDO is first, We support governments in setting up the policies that will encourage or promote private sector investments. Private sector is key because private sector is the one creating the jobs. Partnerships between the public and private sector is critical. Another element in terms of capacity building of the institutions, in countries we work with institutions that support SMEs, that helps to move from small to medium, or from medium to larger institutions. The micro, well, the informal sector, true, is kind of resilient, but at the same time, it's fragile because it has not always the right skills which will help to move from informal to formal. And this is one of our services we offer to LDCs. This is the skills development. Not only the skills of today, but the skills also for the future. One should not forget the digital gap between LDCs and developed countries. One should not forget the very important opportunity that is provided by artificial intelligence, and LDCs should not be left behind. And this is really some of the areas where we put focus on. The role of the UN system, in my introduction, I was talking about complementing each other. We are, as UNIDO, we are specialized in industrial development. But for example, UN organization like FAO is in agriculture. We work together in agro value chains, for example. ILO is specialized in skills development also. We partner with ILO. So we have kind of quite a few partnerships within the UN system to pull our efforts together. To conclude my point here, it's critical to build up partnerships. It's critical to look at the skills, to look at the entire ecosystem where the enterprises prosper in LDCs, to make sure that all the services are combined and ensure the graduation. It's a process, it takes time, but with the good partnerships and engagement with all actors, I think we can move towards the graduation of many LDCs as possible. I stop here for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fatou. I will give the floor to Markus and Kari because you had some direct questions that were to you.
Kari, I'll start. There were questions from Angola. So, housing prices. The cheapest house we built so far, we talk about quality housing. We're not talking about mud houses. We're talking about quality housing. Was $4,000 for a house. We started building that house 8 o'clock in the morning. The family moved in 8 o'clock in the evening. That's what it's all about. But it's also about you countries, because the raw material is the fundamental part of that thing. If we can get decently priced raw materials, the houses will be decently priced. That creates also the need for infrastructure. So how do we collect the waste plastics? How can we secure enough raw material? We're using about 4,000 tons of plastics every single year in one factory. So we need that. Then when it comes to setting up a factory, yeah, there needs to be the support of you, the governments who are running those countries. We need to have the initiatives that the people will understand the value for waste. So we need to find first, like here in Zambia, we found a very good partner over here. We're setting up the factory over here and then of course there's a small thing about money. It's not so easy to come up with $1 million to set up a factory, but it's possible. We just need to be innovative in our financing for that. We're getting the thing in Rwanda where I'm flying over in 2 hours. So we're setting up a factory over there in Kigali also. But the thing is, it's possible. We just need to find a ways. Thank you.
Thank you for the question also from Gambia. Noted that you are interested having the business lab for sure. And then the question about how companies are supported in Finland. First of all, there's the policy level, of course, the leveling playing field that these new innovations can thrive and that there is policies that support for getting the materials in best use, of course, are important. So that's the one layer. Second comes to the innovation side. Finland ranks in top of many of the international rankings when it comes to green innovation. That's because mostly the R&D policies are supporting and there's a strong focus on green innovation. Thirdly, there is, of course, you have to have demand for the solutions as well. The federations and the federations representing companies, they see these green innovation, circular economy, a competitive edge for them, and they have been putting a lot of emphasis on different business models. And Citra, we have supported them with different playbooks for different manufacturing industries, chemical industries, and SMEs, small and medium-sized companies as well. And finally, what is also important is to raise the awareness of these companies and what they offer. So we have, for example, made a most interesting list of Finnish circular economy companies. You can have a look of them as well. That's also important that investors see these cases and there's also funding available for innovative companies.
Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 10 minutes before lunch and we need to end sharply. I have a long list of people who would like to take the floor. I will take the 4 first. Those are lady in the front, Benin, Burundi and Bangladesh. And then I'm really asking you kindly to keep your questions and comments very, very quick, and then after that I will give all the panelists a 1 minute at the most closing, and that would mean that we can close on time for lunch. All right, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador, for giving me the floor. Thank you to the panel for this insightful discussion. My name is Sidnoma Nita Belem Subugo. I'm from Burkina Faso. So my background is in environmental law. I'm a researcher, and I'm starting very soon my postdoctoral studies, researches at the University of Cordoba in Spain for knowledge sharing. So I would like to add a few thoughts and ask questions on how circular economy practices can play a key role in promoting economic diversification and resilience in LDCs. In Burkina Faso, in my country, for instance, we see the potential of circular economy strategy in sectors like agriculture and also in waste management. For instance, we have seen how reusing agricultural waste for composting reduce waste, improve soil fertility, and also increase crop yields. So these practices help diversify income sources and reduce reliance on external inputs in my country for farmers. However, one of the big challenges we are facing right now is the lack of sufficient technology, infrastructure, and access to finance to scale up these solutions. So one of the panelists, Mr. Mayemba, rightly mentioned the importance of policy support, which is really crucial. So we need policies that incentivize businesses to adopt circular practices and foster international cooperation to build infrastructure and share knowledges. So one thing I would like to ask to the floor right now is many communities in LDCs already practices informal circular economy methods. So how can we integrate traditional knowledge and local innovations into national and international circular economy strategies? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good question. Now to Benin, followed by Burundi.
Merci beaucoup. Merci pour les présentations. Je crois que ma question s'adresse à M. Marcos. Je crois qu'il n'avait pas fini de répondre. La réponse n'était pas complète parce que je voudrais savoir quelle est la procédure de partenariat pour que votre entreprise s'implante dans un pays. Puisque, bon, au Bénin, nous avons une société de gestion des déchets et de la salubrité, donc qui concentre, qui accumule tous les déchets au niveau national. Donc, on a une capacité de collecte des déchets très élevée. Et je voudrais savoir quelle est la procédure pour que vous vous implantiez, par exemple, au Bénin. Comment il faut faire et puis votre contact. Merci.
Thank you very much. So the question was, what is the process to be followed to build up these kinds of partnerships with the company? But you will answer later. Thank you very much, if I understood correctly. Thank you. Then Burundi, followed by Bangladesh.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Je voudrais m'exprimer par rapport à la présentation de M. Oscar qui nous a parlé sur la textile. C'est vrai, il est connu que la plupart des vêtements sont tirés du coton, mais à l'heure actuelle, nous constatons qu'il y a une concurrence entre la culture du coton et les autres cultures vivrières, ce qui a un impact sur la production. Il y a une réduction progressive de la production du coton fibre. Alors, par rapport aux cultures qu'il a montrées dans sa présentation, notamment le bananier et l'ananas, nous savons déjà que ce sont des cultures qui peuvent aussi contribuer dans l'alimentation. L'autre important, c'est que ces cultures n'ont pas une même zone écologique par rapport à la cotoniculture. Je voudrais demander s'il y aurait eu aussi une étude, des recherches qui pourraient montrer quelle variété peut être utilisée en plus de ces autres cultures qui produiraient plus de fibres en fait de répondre à son besoin et qui est recherché par tout le monde, qui est l'habillement. L'autre chose, c'est que le reste des cultures, notamment les bananiers, sont utilisés pour le compost, qui contribue aussi à l'augmentation de la productivité du sol par la production de fibres organiques. Je voudrais demander s'ils auraient pensé aussi à cet aspect, parce qu'il y a risque que ces restes des produits puissent être utilisés pour d'autres fins. Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your question. And now we move to Bangladesh.
Thank you. And first of all, I want to thanks to all the presenter of this session. And secondly, I just wanted to share something from Bangladesh. We already did. And thank you, the Finland presenter and Bangladesh presenter, and also the last presenter. I have seen you use the plastic and wood and prepared the school home. And you know, Bangladesh prepared plastic road using recycled plastic waste. This is the very much innovation in flexible pavement construction. And Bangladesh Road Research Laboratory collaborated with the University of Texas at Arlington to customize the construction protocol and specification, this 300-meter road already constructed in 2023 in September. And another thing, Bangladesh, with the help of banana trunk, Bangladesh prepared the sari. This is the very traditional dresses, clothes in our country, already prepared, and it is very successful. Though it is the piloting system, but I think after few years later we can see the successful things. That's my my information from my country. I think it would be helpful for others country of LDC's country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bangladesh, I know we have a long list of others who wanted to speak, including DRC, Burkina Faso, Eritrea, LDC Watch, M Solutions, and so on. And I apologize that we won't have time, but I would encourage all of you to discuss and take the opportunity to discuss with all the presenters after the session, during the coffee break, lunch, and so on. I'm sure there will be opportunities for you. So now just 1 minute each presenter because I think all the questions have really been, each and every one of you have gotten some questions. So we'll start on my left and move to the right. Oscar, you have the floor.
Merci pour la question. La question qui m'a été adressée, c'est est-ce qu'il y a des études qui ont été conduites pour dire que certaines des variétés de bananeries ou de bananes puissent être utilisées dans l'industrie textile de la mode. Je voudrais répondre que des études ont été faites, notamment les études qui ont été conduites par l'Université internationale pour le textile de l'Allemagne. Nous voyons des études qui ont été conduites à propos de ça. Et aussi, il y a des études qui ont été conduites par certaines des universités de l'Inde. Toutes ces études ont montré qu'il y a des variétés de bananiers qui produisent bien des fibres qui pourraient remplacer ou qui pourraient additionner, donc qui pourraient aider à compléter le manque pour les textiles, les fibres de coton. Donc là, on n'a pas de souci. Pour clarifier les choses, pour la certification pour le moment, nous avons une étude qui a été conduite par European Union Labeling Legislation pour ça. Encore pour l'inquiétude de voir si on utilise les déchets agricoles, on a peut-être on utilisait ça pas pour les fertilisants. Non, on prend une petite quantité qui pourrait produire des fibres écologiques. Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, Kari, please.
Thank you. So, in a nutshell, I think there was a lot of questions about how to form partnerships in circular economy, and I would like to stress, of course, the World Circular Economy Forum as a platform for making those connections globally and also locally. There's a good example here in Lusaka. Zambia is organizing a WCF studio and bringing the stakeholders together and discuss about what is discussed in the forum, but also making the connections to local audience. So it's a great platform. So utilize it in your advance.
Thank you, Ms. Vidya.
So Bangladesh is a country unique in every level. I think we are facing the LDC graduation, and that's going to change a lot of things for us. However, circularity is an area where, although we have had it in an informal way, now it's time to make it formal and to reap the benefits. What we need is, of course, financing. And what we need more than financing is what we don't have in Bangladesh, research and development in terms of technology, machinery, how we could become more circular. This is where we need the help of course, countries like Finland, countries like Denmark, other Scandinavian countries, where, of course, we are looking at how to make this a formal way of living, and how it's an argument against fast fashion. And the garment industry is all about fast fashion. So how we do this transformation is important. And for Bangladesh, for a country like Bangladesh, a young country like Bangladesh, of course, we require all your support. Financing is, of course, very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Markus?
I'm going to make it short. The thing is, you have 1,001 questions regarding our technology. So please, I have some brochures over here. My WhatsApp number is on the back page of this brochure. So when you have the questions, send a WhatsApp to me. I will answer them. Thank you so much. I have a plane to catch. Sorry.
Excellent. So everyone who needs can take one of those brochures. Fatou, over to you.
Merci beaucoup. Je vais utiliser la minute pour insister sur peut-être 3 points. Le premier, c'est de continuer à diversifier nos économies en utilisant les technologies, les solutions et les pratiques locales, parce qu'il n'y a pas de solution prête à porter. Chaque pays procède avec ses réalités locales. Le deuxième point, c'est le partenariat, niveau local, régional, au niveau global. L'ONUDI, nous travaillons et nous allons continuer à travailler avec le bureau des LDCs pour la mise en œuvre du plan d'action de Doha. Et je suis disponible pour continuer les discussions pendant le déjeuner, café demain aussi. Et je suis aussi disponible en ligne. Donc, je suis très contente d'avoir pu participer à ces discussions. Merci.
Merci. And Abu Bakr, final words.
Yes, thank you very much. Mine would like also to add to the adoption of local innovations into the national strategies. I think it's very key that we have evidence on the impact of these local innovations, so that they are easily adopted into the national strategies. Once we have evidence of their impact, then it's easier to defend them and have them included in there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I really think we have had an excellent panel, so I want to thank each and every one of you wholeheartedly for the great contributions, and also you for your great questions and interest. So please join me to give a hand to the panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. It was absolutely a very interesting panel. Can I ask you to enjoy your lunch and take really the opportunity to talk to the panelists and the previous panelists, and then be back in the room at 1:25 so that we can be on time with our next session. Enjoy your lunch, and back at 1:25. Thank you.